Greetings, everybody, and welcome to Dreamhack Winter 2016. It's time for another Grand Prix, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. We have $27,000 on the line, and the first official major for 2017's Hearthstone Championship Tour points on the line. Join with me over on this side of the tavern, we have Raven from the UK and Life Coach hailing from Germany. How you guys doing? Adrian, you're casting this weekend. You're not playing. Why is that?
Yeah, I mean, you can only do one of those 10 things, and I guess playing in the Swiss stage is also very appealing, but I guess casting is just getting the entire experience because you have the ability to cast all the high skill matches, and basically all of them, like 15 games or more, 50 matches or more of high skilled gameplay, and commentating that is just awesome.
All right, and Raven, you're back for another Dreamhack. It's already been a year, buddy, since your debut here at Dreamhack. How you feeling?
Yeah, feeling great. My first event was Dreamhack Winter last year, which was awesome. And again, just to echo what Life Coach says, just going through the Swiss stage, it was great when Dreamhack first started doing this event. And yeah, looking forward to all the matches we've got coming up.
Yeah, I'm actually really liking the fact that they kept the more loungy type style as opposed to the stools we just sit up all the time. And I just felt like it was a little hard on my elbows. Yeah. This one's definitely more relaxed, more chill, but it's very much the same type of competition that you guys are used to. For anybody new to Dreamhack Hearthstone Grand Prix, the way we do it is 200-man open Swiss format with best of 5 last hero standing. For a summary of how Swiss actually goes down, Raven has a really simple way to phrase it. How would you phrase a breakdown of Swiss?
Yeah, so Swiss, you play, or you have the option to play all of the 9 rounds total, so you don't get knocked out like you would in double elimination. You can play them all, and effectively, the players, or the top 16 with the best total score at the end of all those rounds, go through into an elimination bracket. But the most important thing is, if you lose twice, you are still in. You can keep going, as it can potentially come down to tiebreakers and such like that. So you get to just play a hell of a lot of Hearthstone, and also there's no true disadvantage for losing to the extent of a double elim bracket, where you might have to play even more rounds than the players who stay in the winners bracket, which is very important.
Still very competitive, though.
Yeah.
If you lose early, your tiebreakers might be very poor. Something that I know Life Coach has experienced too, playing through Swiss tournaments. Do you enjoy Swiss tournaments, Life Coach? What's the most exciting part about it when you're a player?
Yeah, I also definitely think that Swiss tournaments are the way to go, simply because of what Raven just mentioned. So there's always everything in there. So even if you lose 1 or 2 rounds, it's still perfectly fine. Instead of then needing to win 14, 15, 16 rounds, you can just go win your other 7 matches. I mean, not that this will be easy, but
yeah.
If you do so, you're still through, so you never give up hope. And there's also the component that you might also just want to measure your playing skill, so you don't want to bust out after 2 matches. I mean, you traveled here many hours and you're here for many days. You don't want to bust out. You want to see, you want to play the entire range,
yes.
And the entire range are 9 matches. And if you go 0-3, well, you can still continue to play the other ones. And if you end the day with, or even tomorrow with 5-4, then you have accomplished something, and maybe you can just try next time.
Yeah, certainly. I think that's one of the really cool flexibility about Swiss. There will be breaks in between the rounds, so we do want to let you guys know about how the schedule go down. We're going to do rounds 1 through 7 today. Rounds 8 and 9, as well as the rest of the round of 16 will happen on day 2, and finally on day 3 we'll play out the round of 8 to the grand finals. Once again, we have HCT points on the line. That's the Hearthstone Championship Tour for next year, 2017. We already have the first event for BlizzCon giving out points. I believe Pavel has 25 for winning World Championship, and all the way down to the top 16 have 8 points. This event, the winner of it gets 15 points, so the person who wins pretty much guaranteed to go to the playoffs for 2017, but there's also points all the way down to the round of 16. So shout out to Blizzard recognizing that top 16, still a good accomplishment, and some players getting points for that. And with that, our first match of the day will be a pretty good one. This is the one that Life Coach actually picked out, so a job well done. It's Firebat up against Terrence Miller, or TerrenceM for short, from New York. A couple players from North America, specifically USA, and they've traveled a long way to get here, and they were saying, you know what, I just kind of want some screen time, I want some exposure. I didn't travel all the way here to Dreamhack so I can lose off stream. So, Life Coach, why'd you pick these 2 players as our first match here?
Yeah, I mean, I guess many people also were interested to see also Pavel, which we also choose, like where we had the choice, but I'm also pretty sure that we will be able to see Pavel in a later stage, maybe also against another known player.
Yeah.
But I just think that Firebat and TerrenceM are both established players, competitive players, and people can root for each of them. And I mean, of course, Firebat with his achievements, World Champion 2014 and 2015, second place in WCA, just awesome results, and TerrenceM second in Dream at Austin, just losing to Chucky in the finals. So I'm really excited to and looking forward to watch this match.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really cool as well because Firebat has obviously been casting a lot recently. You know, he's at BlizzCon, he's been doing all sorts. So
he retired.
Yeah,
momentarily.
He's coming back from retire.
That's right.
So, and he's actually saying like this year, you know, at the start of this season, which pretty much begins at Dreamhack, is he's really going to go back into playing competitively. He really wants to do well this year, and I'm really looking forward to see how he performs at least in round one of this tournament.
Right. Our second match, as Life Coach mentioned, includes current world champion Pavel, hot off his victories from not only BlizzCon but also the Game Goom tournament. He did 2 back-to-back tournament victories, very impressive. Can he do a third one? That would be unprecedented. I think at that point no one would question him. He's our second match along with Tars, always a Dreamhack favorite. Whenever we see Tars compete in Dreamhack, we're always ready for something a little bit crazy. And I think people are excited to see what he has in store. I heard he's bringing Paladin to this tournament, so that's always fun because I don't really expect to see much Paladin. In fact, if we just break down the metagame really quick before we get into our first match, I think the players just need a little bit more time to set up. What can we really expect from this metagame in last year's standing? Do you think it's that different from what we've seen from Conquest, for example? We'll start off with Raven.
Yeah, I think I'm probably expecting a lot of Shaman bans is the usual, which nothing ever really changes, at least recently. But I think there might be a slightly lean towards decks that can sweep a lot easier because we saw, for example, in the last Dreamhack, a lot of players actually just 3-0'd or at least, you know, got 2 victories out of a deck a lot of the time. And I feel that in Last Hero Standing, sweeper decks are actually very, very strong at the moment. I'm expecting to see like a lot of Zoo, for example, that can perform very well and just pretty much take down anyone if they get those discard mechanics just right.
So you think Zoo is the deck to beat when you ban Shaman?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, Life Coach, do you agree, or do you have something else you want to point out too?
Yeah, absolutely the same. I also think many people will ban Shaman. The alternate ban is usually Druid. Banning Druid opens you up to bring different decks, other possibilities. Yeah, could be, I mean, Stan Sivka, for example, usually bans Druid and then brings some Reno Warlocks and stuff like this. So
Reno Warlock. I mean, Hoy is at this competition. We'll see if he ends up bringing Reno Warlock. We'll see. The bans are in. TerrenceM has his Shaman ban. Firebat took that away. Instead, he has his Druid, Warrior, and his Mage. I believe that Mage is the Tempo Mage. And flipping it over to Firebat, I think he's bringing something similar. Yep. He also has Druid, Warrior, and Mage. His Shaman was banned.
Yeah, so potential for a few mirror matches coming up here. And yeah, the Tempo Mage is another deck I expect to see quite a lot, having a lot of popularity. Obviously, Pavel performing very well with it. And a lot of the other players at BlizzCon actually doing pretty well with that deck. A little bit unpredictable at times, but gets the job done.
I think actually that is a slight error on the graphics. I think Firebat actually brought a Warlock deck. So the Warlock...
Forget everything I just said.
The Warlock and the Warrior are split. I think you're right. I think Firebat's leaning towards that Zoo strategy. Firebat was very adamant, saying that he thinks if you ban Shaman, Zoo's the best deck currently in the game. You're able to really punish people. But then people on the other end, I was talking to some of the other players from Europe saying like, yeah, we totally expect people to think that, and we're going to bring stuff that will be crushing that strategy that if people are super reliant on Zoo. So I want to see who's coming out on head. And then we'll see like who's also the ones bringing the random stuff. Yeah, sorry, here's a correction, by the way. Firebat bringing the Warlock. So, we'll see if anyone has room to bring some of those really weird decks. Rogue, for example, is always a question mark. Some people just love bringing it to last year's standing tournaments.
Yeah, so for example, Evangelion here, who's the Valencia champion, he likes just full control decks. You're probably going to be a great fan of him, Live Coach, and he brings, he was playing at the Game Goon tournament. He brought N'Zoth Paladin, I think N'Zoth Warrior, just everything as slow as possible. And suddenly, just playing that sort of usual strategy of ban Shaman beat Zoo doesn't really apply anymore when you start bringing that kind of lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the control decks do have a pocket, but it's only a very specific window. I think currently with Karazhan at the last of its expansion being solved, I think we've pretty much found the best things. Do you think there's any room for control decks to impress this weekend? How about if there's one deck that you think will surprise people, what would it be, Life Coach?
Ooh, I have no idea. I would also think it's what you said. At the end of the expansion, pretty much everything is already figured out, so I wouldn't think there will be a lot of surprises.
There is one surprise that I heard, is that some people have figured out a deck list with Yashiraj in the Druid.
The Druid, yeah, sure.
I think that is some innovation that I was not expecting. Do you feel like this deck list is legitimate, or do you think it's just more of a gimmick that's not that reliable and that some people are perhaps misplacing their faith?
Oh no, I really like it very much. I mean, as a matter of fact, I played the first deck I played was like Druid with Yasharai,
Yep.
and so I mean, I really love 10 mana cards which do big awesome effects, right? So
Yeah, like Yaxaron.
I
know you love that card.
yeah, exactly. So I might be the wrong person to ask.
Sure, Raven, do you think this innovation at the very end of the expansion, will that have an impact at all?
Yeah, I think it might in terms of like the main thing with Druid or Malygos Druid beforehand is that the threats are very specific, and because the deck was played for so long, it got to the point where players knew exactly what to do. Warrior's the easy one where, okay, 2 Arcane Giants, 2 Shield Slams, and then, you know, that's how you deal with every single threat, whereas the Yasharaj version normally plays Sylvanas as well, and just generally just bigger and more threats. So, you know, it's not as simple as, okay, I use this for this, this for this. Not as easy to line up, so it might be enough to just push out some of the more stable, say, Control Warrior decks we've been seeing.
Yeah, I personally really like it because I think people were seeing a lot of play with the other 3 old gods for a while. We've seen Cthulhu go in and out, and now it's still kind of in it. N'Zoth, of course, was experimented, and Yaxaron had his time in the sun. But we'll see if Yasharaj can have his way as well. And with that, our first series is underway. Thank you, everyone, for being patient. The Hearthstone Grand Prix for Winter Dreamhack 2016 is about to begin. I'm going to leave you in the loving hands of Life Coach and Raven.
Thank you very much, Broden.
Okay, so there's a lot of deciding on this mulligan here as Terrence just spams across, closing out all the cards, and it is going to be Druid versus Tempo Mage. So what are these players actually looking for in the mulligan here, Life Coach?
I guess the Druid is always looking for the same, which is just ramp, acceleration at the very beginning of the game, and afterwards utilizing these ramp mana he acquired to gain a distinctive advantage. And the Mage is just looking for tempo, pushing stuff on the board to pressure the Druid into a situation where he has to, where he cannot react anymore, and then just overrun him and burst maybe the last 12 damage out with double fireball or stuff like this.
Yeah, and I think it's important as well to mention that these deck lists are hidden from everyone.
Yep.
So the players don't know their opponent's deck list at all. And in terms of Tempo Mage, there's a couple of variants of, there's like the Torch and more burn heavy versus the minion heavy variant that, for example, Pavel was playing with Water Elemental, Faceless Summoners, so on. So it'll be cool to see which version of Firebat is playing there. But Terrence looks like he's getting off to a pretty reasonable start here with the Innovate, and now the choice of Wild Growth straight from that Raven Idol is pretty nice.
Yeah, just awesome. It's what we basically talked about, a lot of ramp and going into the game. Yeah, maybe we also will see a 3 Violence Portal from Firebat. Here he got one off the
why not?
so that's awesome. I mean, it's just probably one of the strongest cards against Druid once you reach turn 7, so definitely not unhappy about this Babbling Book here.
Yeah, the sheer tempo gain from potentially taking down one of their bigger minions and developing a minion of your own is kind of huge. And there's always the surprise factor of Leroy coming off the violence for like just sort of extra burst damage, which is always nice for the Tempo Mage.
I was thinking the 7/8 Taunt Slayer is like especially awesome.
Yeah, it's there's actually just a lot of ramp available. There's always the interesting choice with Nourish in hand as to at what point do you need to decide to go for mana or go for card draw. I think Terrence is probably going to aim at the card draw at this point because he doesn't have too much else to do in terms of what his hand looks into. Obviously, Nourish is a couple of turns away for now. But yeah, I think we might just see some cycle there from Terrence. Building into at least. Oh, he's going to play the Living Roots as well, kill off that Apprentice. That is a huge threat minion, actually. If you leave that on the board, then truly ridiculous things can happen from the Tempo Mage.
Yeah, absolutely same. I mean, killing this Sorcerer's Apprentice for 1 mana in the card is definitely the way to go, especially because you don't know the Mage's hand, so if he begins to Arcane Intellect like crazy, I mean, you just have to get rid of this. I mean, it's even turn 3, so he might have as well just gone already, going a little bit Flamewaker into missiles, maybe stuff like this, right? And you just want to prevent that.
Yeah.
So
Firebat has the choice now of like the risky Flame Waker. If you just play it and the swipe, that's really bad.
Yeah.
A huge problem. If you get away with it, it might be worth in some scenarios, but Firebat's hand doesn't really lend itself to even playing the Flame Waker at this point because he doesn't really have any follow-up for the Flame Waker anyway. So choosing to hold on to it there and just ping, taking the game a little bit slow, which he can afford to do with 2 Fylands, Portals, and a Ragnaros in his hand.
yeah, it's an interesting turn because I mean, Terrence could have already opted in for Innervate Moonfire Giant, and I'm not sure whether I dislike this line. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, the key thing is if you get the Giant out this early, what is the Temple Mage actually going to do?
Yeah,
You've just dealt with the Apprentice, you've seen no minion come down, and then what could possibly punish, like hard punish you for it? So yeah, Terrence taking a little bit slow, and maybe he had the opportunity to get away with a bit of a faster Giant out there, and now he's got the awkward play of he has Fandral, which is fantastic with cards like Living Roots and Nourish, but the problem he has is there's a Flame Waker on board, and that needs to be #1 priority in terms of the kill.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as it looks, Terrence wants to address this Flamebaker by playing the Fandral, Living Roots, Moonfire, and innovating the Hero Power, I guess.
Yeah.
Which I can definitely see. Also, just coming shortly back to the Giant with 8/8, it's indeed, it was only Mage's turn 4, right? So he could have really done nothing against the Giant.
It would have had to have been like Frostbolt into Fireball exactly to deal with it, which would have been probably a win for the Mage a lot of the time. You know, that you feel good if there's that much burn used up that early, and if they're using those spells early, then they're not developing anything themselves.
Right, and also going into the Nourish turn.
Yeah, you have the Nourish
right?
to just refill, yeah?
Exactly, exactly. So you play all your stuff, and then turn 5, bam, Nourish, 3 new cards. Awesome.
Yeah. I've still got a full hand even after all this. Thanos is going to come down and help clear up. Kind of funny, actually, that like Flame Waker demands that much respect that Terrence had to, you know, use his Innovate just to hero power it, and now Fandral demands enough respect to just instantly deal with it as well. Because if Fandral's down and you get a Nourish off, things are looking really bad if you're not the Druid player.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So, but now we have this 8/8 Giant on the board, and okay, there's a Dragon. I just wanted to say, if the Firebat doesn't draw something, he will have a very, very bad turn.
Never good to ping pass when your opponent's just played an Arcane Giant.
No.
And this is looking really good for Terrence, actually. He has the second Giant, even if the first one's dealt with.
Yeah.
And as we've said from pretty much the beginning, he has Nourish, which is just fantastic to just cycle to 3 more cards and really refill that hand up.
Yeah, but on the other hand, Firebat also has access to double Fylands, Portal, Fireball, and Ragnaros, which are all insane big value cards. So it's really, really close here.
Yeah, especially because the missiles took the Giant to 5, which means the Fylands Portal just kills it off straight if the Azure Drake's dealt with without a trade.
That is insane.
That's actually huge.
That is huge. That's really insane. So what will we see here? Do we see a Raz and Shapeshift Giant? Is that possible? No, it's not, right? No.
No, it's just out.
So yeah, it's off. So,
This is actually a tough one.
Yeah. Would you play the Nourish to draw the cards for Gamble, or would you just play the Giant and pray?
Yeah, it's a real tough one, because even just the spell damage being on the board, if you trade in, then your Giant's down to 1, so that's just going to get pinged off. But with the spell damage and potential of Arcane Blast, or you know, even just Frostbolt slowing the Giants down into a Flame Strike, they could be dealt with very, very easily. But Terrence is going to do it. He's going to just play the Giant and say, well, you've got to deal with all this, and this inadvertently makes the Fylands Portal not as good as it was going to be. So really good play there. Going to work out for Terrence, I think, pretty well. Well, the Frostbolt's pretty good now.
The Frostbolt is pretty good, but I mean, what
slow,
do you do
though.
else? Yeah, it's pretty slow. I mean, what do you exactly want to do? Do you want to Frostbolt ping? I think it might even... it's a really complex turn, I think.
Yeah. I think the benefit is if you ping Frostbolt, then you can Fylands the Giant next turn.
Sure,
Which means you at least, you know, it's another slow turn from Firebat,
right?
But you can set up the big Fylands now instead of the turn before.
Yeah, and he's doing exactly this, yeah.
Okay, so there's the big Nourish.
Okay, innovate, draw. So not really anything of interest.
No.
I mean, Terrence might go innovate into the Mirror Keeper with the token, basically countering the Ragnaros turn, which might very well occur, and at the same time also playing around Flame Strike, because Firebat won't be able to Flame Strike and ping the Giant at the same time.
I don't even mind the Thanos development here, because there's a Moonfire and a Living Root's already gone. So
Right.
you've used 2 of the key spells, you know, you kind of save Thanos for. And to be honest, Terrence didn't really draw anything high impact.
Yep.
So the cycle is fine. He's just continually digging deeper into the deck, just trying to get some of those big threats out. Here's the Violence, and 4/4, not terrible.
Right.
Could be better.
Could be better.
Not terrible.
Well, it could be also
It's
be
not
worse.
faceless manipulator, so
That's right.
that's all
right.
that matters. It's not the 3/3.
So yeah, I mean, definitely Racing for 2 here for cycling purposes. As you pointed out, he needs to dig for this Maligos.
There we go.
There he is.
Good work, Life Coach. He needs to dig for exactly this card.
Now maybe we want to have a Thanos and a swipe and everything is good.
True. That
Yeah.
would be pretty reasonable as well.
So do you sacrifice the Blood Mage? I guess you do. I guess you do.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's pretty nice. You get the cycle as well instantly, so your turn may change based off that.
There he goes.
All
I am
righty
the
then.
power.
And this is a play we've seen like more and more often against certain decks like Tempo Mage, where you play the Malygos, don't really get all the burst damage. You're
Yeah.
not trying to kill them, but you put in a threat so big that it's like, well, how are you actually going to kill this? You know, like if this survives one turn, suddenly Swipe is the best card in the deck to draw. You just wipe the whole board, do so much damage, and Firebat does have a way to deal with the Malygos, but it's going to take a couple of turns.
That's right, but it's also not, at the same time, it's not that much of a damage. I mean, as you can also see, Terrence doesn't really have spells in his hand, so even if Maligos survives 1 or 2 turns, at the moment, it really doesn't matter that much.
Yeah, and you've seen now 2 Moonfires in the Living Roots,
Exactly.
so there's only really Swipe and the 1 Living Roots that's left that's going to do anything too wild.
Exactly.
Azure Drake is really nice.
It's insane. It's an
Yeah.
insane. Oh! 10
Okay.
to the face.
Swipe
and-
face! This might actually... Oh, do you think Swipe face is correct here? Because he is getting a little bit low on life. He saw Firebat just went face with the Violence Portal, so he might have to read that Firebat actually just wants to just kill him with Burn from hand, so he could save the Fell Rages to armor up if he really needs to.
No, I don't mind that at all. I would definitely also go for that line, because if only one of your guys survives, you have lethal on board. You
Yeah.
set up lethal, and I think this is very important. But let's see what Yogg-Saron will give us this time.
Go, your favorite card, Life Coach.
But he gave this one
Oh, was
that
that-
he comes again.
Oh my god.
It's not very convenient.
When Yogg gets played, I normally watch the players' faces more than I do watch the Yogg,
because
just
they
to see
are-
reactions from what's going on. And
Right.
that was not the best Yogg in the world. Didn't clear anything. There is a couple of secrets up. I didn't actually quite catch what the secrets were.
But you can just, I mean, you can probably, let's see, do you want to?
Because it's not lethal if there's a freezing trap, right?
Yeah, or explosive. If it's explosive, it's,
Oh yeah, because
Yeah.
the Azure Drake will die.
right. I mean, also because of the 2 heal, right? So,
Oh, of course, yeah.
okay, interesting. Yeah, now we have this situation we talked about earlier, so there are no spells available for Terrence. But yeah, I guess the Malygos just has rebirth, right? So you can just probably hit the face 2 times. So, interesting.
Got to test for the trap now. He knows it's not Cat Trick.
Ooh,
Now-
now he knows.
Yeah, now he's like,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. Pretty convenient.
Yep.
I'll take that.
I think there's a mage secret up, right? As well.
Oh,
gotta
but
be-
if there is, then he should not do this. But yeah.
Ah,
Are
okay.
you sure that?
There was
No.
definitely a second secret. I wasn't 100% sure which one it was. But yeah, that's going to be the first game goes to Terrence with that Druid. And not a bad win. Getting out that Malygos early really paid off. And,
Yeah,
you know, the
yeah.
Yogg not being super impactful, but to be fair, Firebat didn't really play that many spells that game, so it was never going to get too much done. It would have to be a truly crazy Yogg to actually
Yeah.
clear the board, heal him, you know, do it. Had a lot of work it needed to do to pull Firebat out of that one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was actually also just for a very short moment. Usually a Yogg comes up and then you wait and he's doing that stuff, unless it dies nowadays. But otherwise, he's just the animations will take a minute, right? But I mean. A minute, but in this case, I was really surprised how short it was. I was like, "Oh, it's over. The show is over.
Yeah,
is
and
there
I
not
think-
something more?"
Yeah, and we saw Firebat kind of struggle with the Tempo Mage early on. He had like a Violence Portal. He did have the Babbling Book and a Flame Waker, but by the time he played Flame Waker and it got dealt with,
Yep.
he only just drew into Fireball, Frostbolt, you know, and Arcane Missiles, the spells you really want to combo with that card. And he couldn't really get it off, but we're moving very swiftly on to game 2. And of course, this is last hero standing, so Terrence is going to stick on his Druid. Firebat is moving on to his Zoo. As Frodan was saying, one of the decks that Firebat thinks is just one of the strongest in the game at the moment, minus Shaman. And a deck that has historically and I think currently performs very well versus Druid.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, Zoo floods the board, and Druid has only very few tools to address that. Some Druids are playing Baron Geddon, but it's rather a rare inclusion. So, but Baron Geddon really helps, of course, after ramp. But generally, yeah, if Druid doesn't have the removal or the AoE board swipes at exactly the right time, yeah, Zoo usually has the upper hand.
Yeah, it feels like the second you just like slip on a turn as Druid and not quite do what you need to do, it's just game over. Zoo runs away. Especially just because, as you said, the live tap just means Zoo is never out of cards and out of minions to continually develop every single turn.
Yeah, that's right. We also saw the saplings trading. But I guess it's correct because Firebat could have a Knife Juggler into a coin 1-drop, and then the Knife Juggler would hit a 1/1 sapling, so definitely a good call from Terrence here. Malygos. Yeah, that's a dead card.
Yeah, it might be a while off yet.
Yeah.
We're not going to see Malygos come down anytime soon. Terrence actually doing as much of a defense as he can muster versus this Imp Gang Boss. The Thanos is on board to trade with the Imp that's left as well, so not too terrible, but the problem for Terrence now, as we can see, is Firebat's got plenty of minions to play, plenty of cards in his hand. Terrence has Innovate and Malygos, and the second Innovate. This needs to be great.
Good. This looks pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, Innovate Malygos. Yeah.
Let's go straight into Mali, and now Firebat just has to think anything but swipe, anything but swipe.
This is so sick. I mean, Firebat knows by now that there is no, the last card is not Moonfire. I mean, obviously because
he would have killed it, right?
He would have killed it. But the Malygos, I think it's insane because usually Malygos are just a straight up dead card in this matchup, and just being able to put it on the board is already so insane.
How do you think Firebat needs to approach this now? Do you ignore Malygos? Do you try and kill it? Do you just go face and hope? Like, it's a really tough one to decide, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think with a Soulfire, he might have the tools to address him. So maybe just attacking him with a Counselor and praying, I guess.
And then just a quick prayer to hope that he can, this Malygos doesn't completely wipe him out of the game.
Yeah, just because if the Druid only has Nourish left, he needs to Nourish, and then he can utilize, I mean, some spells he can utilize immediately, but some spells he also needs to wait. So he's also playing a little bit around Nourish here.
Yeah. And also the hit into the Malygos, the Councilman's on 1, but the Voidwalker is guarding just the hero power kill on the Councilman as well. So, and he's already seen 1 Wrath, so there needs to be a very specific answer to kill that Councilman this turn, and there isn't there. So now Malygos is only a 4/5, which means very easy to deal with, and that is a...
I mean, it can be. It can be.
It can be great. It can be great.
It can be.
These are the moments where Zoo either shines or has some problems.
This is like a 50-50 to win the game.
Yeah.
If the Silverback Golem becomes discarded, it's GG.
Okay.
So
I'll take your word for that. We'll see. We'll see.
I mean,
although I'm not going to bet on that.
if he even wants to take it, I mean, Firebat could also decide to tap first and then to Soulfire, which I would probably do, because then he has 2 in his 3 to win it.
Yep.
The truth is
But he doesn't do it, and
He gets
the
it.
golem hits the board. It's
So now,
so rough.
in your professional opinion, life coach, has Firebat just won?
Yeah, probably if the Druid has nothing and he has everything, probably the Druid is looking...
Especially, he can just trade so easily as well. You know, like, he clears the board with his minions. Next turn, he can just press that live tap button every time. And, you know, we can see there's just wild growth in Terrence's hand. There's like, he needs to actually just draw swipe or something next turn to be able to deal with these minions. Kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. It's absolutely insane.
Even with all those trades, there's 9 power on board, and even swipe. Like, swipe's great, but still doesn't completely clear the board. Even with hero power, you're still going to be taking a good amount of damage. And then the problem is, well, what do you do after the swipe? Because it's going to be Firebat's turn, income more minions, and then you're literally working off the top of your deck as the Druid, and it's going to be so difficult for Terrence here.
Absolutely. I was also wondering about the Wolf, but it's probably too vulnerable against Swipe, right? Because Firebat decided to trade the 2/2 Wolf into the 5/1, into the Thorison, and he didn't need to do that. He could have also dealt the 2 damage in the face and keeping the wolf, because the 5-1 didn't really have good attack on anything.
Yeah, it was just going to die, and the Emperor's reducing down 1 card.
Oh,
so.
there is the spike.
Oh my.
I'm not saying that it will win the game, but it was pretty important. It was pretty damn
Hey,
important.
no. According to you, Firebat will win this game based on the discard. So I'm holding you to that one. Like,
No, you can. You can hold me on
Okay,
that one.
okay,
I mean,
we'll see.
Terrence still. I mean, there's the single wild growth.
Yeah. The swipe was a lifeline, though.
Yeah.
Like, that was exactly what he needed, especially after Ritual there. Oh, never mind. Juggler into Doomguard might just continue to seal the deal here.
Oh, Raven
Idol to change a
Idol.
few things.
Wooha. That can do it, but you take the spell, I guess. Yeah, you need a spell here.
Nourish.
Bite. You probably take the bite. but-
Yeah, you can, Moonfire just isn't reliable enough. You've
Yes.
used Malygos for a start, so just gonna bite onto that Juggler, leave the Doomguard up. Not much options for Terrence here, and Firebat has the joy of drawing 2 cards a turn.
Yeah, 9 mana, kill a juggler. that's probably not the most appealing thing in the world.
Yeah,
Oh, but these are very good draws for Terrence. I mean,
nothing
that-
too high impact.
Yeah. That's probably the 2 worst draws Firebat could have drawn at this very moment.
Yeah, the second, another Doomguard, a Councilman,
Yeah.
another Imp Gang Boss, then suddenly like, okay, I cannot clear this board at
Yeah,
all.
exactly.
He's gonna finally use the Wild Growth to cycle there, hoping this card is gonna get him out.
Ooh,
Well,
that is
actually,
1 mana. That
Oh.
But you
Me.
Brass first. What?
I mean, he isn't Wrath into cycle, so it doesn't.
Oh no, but I would Brass into cycle.
He's just,
why didn't he do that?
Just doesn't want to take the damage, I guess. Just feels he needs to save as much health as possible. He would take 3 extra damage, put him down to 12.
Yeah, but I mean, the question was in this particular situation: do you trade 3 life against an additional card and 1 mana? And this additional card is quite important if you would otherwise float 7 mana, right? So
Yeah, true.
I mean, he could have played Wrath for 1, then he would have had 7 mana, right? And
That could have changed his whole turn.
absolutely,
Like, very dramatically as well.
absolutely, yeah, sure.
Terrence
I'm a little bit surprised here.
Yeah, Terrence being a little bit, I guess, timid with his health.
Yeah.
Because one of the problems is the card you draw may save you more health. You know,
Yes.
going forward, right?
Yes.
It's like, not that turn, but may save you more in the long run. The Demon Fire coming down onto that Doomguard. 7-9. Suddenly, you know, not quite as clean a kill on the Doomguards he would have hoped with this Giant. And it's like Firebat might
Does he
trade
really
it.
trade because he's afraid of 3 damage? Yeah, that's interesting. Is it worth it though? I mean, if Firebat kills the Giant, he still doesn't have lethal or doesn't confirm lethal next turn, so I'm not sure. I think, oh, but now Terrence can top. Oh, this is crazy.
This is
Really
very close.
crazy, and it is. Oh! What? Are you serious? Are you serious? It's the only.
We always serious here,
And
life
we
coach.
are.
Oh!
No, it's enough. It's enough. Wisp of the old god. It's lethal. It's lethal.
Oh, it's 2-2, right? Yes, we
Oh,
can-
he drew it. It's so insane.
Yeah.
He can Wisp of the old god shapeshift GG. It's so insane.
It's Terrence.
This
Terrence
is
is taking his time
so-
here, but
This is insane.
he has the mana to
He has it.
this
He has
game.
it. What is he
Terrence
considering?
Terrence should unhide his cards
He saw
and
it, he saw it.
really look at Wisps of the Old God.
No, he saw it. He saw it. Look.
Yeah, he's got
So,
it.
yeah.
Wow.
Insane.
So,
Looks pretty good. Yeah.
wow. Kind of crazy. And Terrence takes a 2-0 lead up versus Firebat. And Life Coach.
I lost the bet.
Firebat didn't win!
Do I need to make my hair blue now? no.
Yes.
That's good.
Yes,
okay.
I'm okay with that if you are. But yeah, that was you know, a bit of a crazy one. Terrence seemed to pull it
Insane.
out of the bag there somehow.
Absolutely insane.
I think the swipe turn, clearing all the 1/1s, was
pretty
huge
important. Yeah,
because
yeah.
you know they're only 1/1s, but that damage is going to chip away if you can't deal with a full board, right? As Druid normally.
yeah.
Swipe being perfect, but then going on to Raven Idol with the exact damage he needed to end the game was kind of nuts. And Terrence is now ahead with Druid 2-0. Firebat's only got 1 deck left.
Also things like you want to see, right? I mean, because what this like at the very last turn decided the game was the Raven Idol, a skill card. But also, again, the double mechanic, so the Wisps are giving +2/+2 or 7 Wisps. Usually you never use it, but if you're a good enough player to see that, yeah, then you can just confirm the lethal there. So very good evaluation
recognition,
from him too. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of instances where as a player, you generally just don't think about these weird scenarios because they just don't come up often enough. You know, you don't actually, that doesn't happen every game, right? So you're not going to be thinking about it. But we are moving on to game 3, of course, and it is going to be Druid Mirror. And I am guessing based off, oh, interesting. So Terrence has Sylvanas and double Mire Keeper in hand. Firebat also has a Sylvanas as well. So this is sort of slipping back into Druid recently. It's sort of one of the cards that sort of goes in and out depending on really what you want to focus on with the deck.
Oh, but he innovates now the Mire Keeper, right? I mean, yeah, okay. I was just wondering because he already hovered over the shapeshift, but these are just the insanest Mire Keepers. It's like Mire Keeper to Mire Keeper. It very well could be that we see a 3-0 sweep.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Yeah. And the thing in the Druid Mirror as well for the Mire Keepers, obviously it's fantastic to go double into them for the ramp, but Druid can't really deal with the 3/3s either. It's kind of, if they're dealing with the 3/3s, they're one to probably taking damage and also not ramping themselves.
Exactly.
So then the game just starts to snowball completely out of control, and I agree, I think this is going to be an uphill climb for Firebat here with this opening.
So, vengeance. The vengeful roots.
Living Roots there, killing off the Mire Keeper probably as clean as it was ever going to get. And Firebat does have the option of actually just innovating out Sylvanas next turn and just saying this is what I need to just represent a threat and try and get back into this game, because this is looking very scary for him right about now.
Terrence just used the Moonfire. That's an interesting one, because the Moonfire is quite valuable in this matchup to sometimes confirm lethal damage or sometimes with Malygos to deliver 6 damage. Do you did you like that, to deliver the deadly blow on the Blood Mage, or?
I think it's a tough one, because what are you afraid of the spell damage for next turn, right?
Yeah.
If his board was quite wide and he was afraid of, a swipe would have been punishing if he left the Thanos up, I get it. But even if you just play Sylvanas next turn, then I guess swipe does some work. But by that time, the Thanos is probably traded by then. So I don't know, it seems kind of a weird one. As you mentioned, like Malygos Moonfire a minion to kill it is actually pretty big in this matchup, because there aren't that many minions in the deck, so if you clear one off and develop Malygos, it can be game win a lot of the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, but probably he also had his thoughts about it.
Well, I think we saw this from Terrence in the last game, where he's just playing very safe.
Yeah.
Just like, you've got a minion, it's gone. I just want it dealt with, I want to be as safe as possible.
Right,
and not potentially just throw away, like an easy clear for my opponent.
Exactly, yeah, I also think so. I mean, there is a conservative line of play, and I think, as you mentioned it, Terrence is usually taking the more conservative line, where not that much can happen in an immediate action or during the next 2-3 turns. Maybe trading a little bit in value, which could occur in the distinctive future.
Yeah. Really, it's about just weighing the options and how they're going to impact going forward. And Terrence going for minion here, and both of those are pretty good minions. I'm fond of the one on the far right, personally.
Yeah.
But the Bug Creeper lining up completely with the mana that was available is pretty good.
But he actually chose to discard the coin for a +1/+1 buff. What do you think about that?
I think that's okay, because the cards he has in hand, it's just a more awkward shape to deal with like 8 health. Like, how does Druid really deal with 8? 7's a little bit easier with like swipe into Wrath, for example. Clears it up. 8 can be a little bit awkward, but I don't mind it. He's not really got too much to use the coin with. He could Wrath cycle into something where the coin becomes more impactful, but I think for now Terrence just wants to try and get ahead and stay ahead. Oh, this Sylvanas steal. And okay.
It takes the Keeper.
It's going to be cleared up by the Wrath. Or is it?
Yeah, I guess you do. I
don't mind this, though, that Terrence sort of just was going for the snap play, then he's like, actually, let me just slow down a little bit, work out exactly what I want to do with my turn.
Yeah, or
this.
And maybe. It really depends what you think.
He's going to go for it, okay.
Yeah. No, I actually think I like it, because it's true that you lose the 6/3 very clean against the Mire Keeper, but only if you also... what I'm saying is you would lose the Bog Creeper probably anyways, right? I mean, the Druid cannot deal 3 damage. It's very, very unlikely.
Yeah, and especially with the amount of cards Firebat has in hand as well. Yeah. And also, as he said, you give the clean kill, but then you also have an 8/8 on the board versus potentially nothing. So I do like the play. Firebat's going to go for the Moonblade, and ooh, okay.
Okay.
So is Innovate Swipe here worthwhile to fully clear the board.
Well, yeah. I mean, it
pretty
looks
good.
good.
You just really punished Terrence for that giant play.
I mean, it was his game plan anyways, right? So even if he would have gotten something else, he was prepared to use this innervate and to swipe, I guess.
Now it just feels even better.
Oh, yeah. You bet it does.
Yeah, and this is one of the things that can happen as well when you play Druid with the Arcane Giants. If you play one for 7, 6, maybe 6+ mana, depending on the turn, like, the Giant needs to get way more work done than if you dropped it for 0 or 1 mana, where it's much easier to fill in your turn, right? If you actually use pretty much a whole turn, you better hope that Giant gets to hit, and it's not going to now because of that Moonglade portal into Reckless Rocketeer from Firebat.
Oh, by the power.
Yeah.
There's no immediate handle, but Firebat will be able to deploy Fandral and Giant. If he draws Malygos, he can Malygos Moonfire the Emperor. That's insane. Oh, that would be very insane.
Yeah, it's a sort of style turn we talked about earlier, wasn't it? Where in this matchup, if you just drop Malygos, not a lot of players are playing Mulch, so there's often not just a straight up easy answer.
What does he... Okay, okay. So...
I just wanted to play both both Giants this turn.
Sure.
And ask Terrence the question, can you deal with 2 A8s?
Ragnaros. No. He can still draw it though. He can brass for 1. I mean, he needs to brass for 1 to get more cards.
Yeah, he needs something.
And Ragnaros! Here we are!
This is twice already today, Live Coach, you've called card draws.
But he should go face, right? So the Ragnaros has like 16% more to hit one of these 8/8s. So not even playing the Roots, just slamming Ragnaros down. Emperor hits face. Or does he really want to trade one?
Yeah, I think he's just going for the big payoff play. Firebat's only on 1 card, 2 on the draw, of course. If Rag hits the Giant,
payoff!
like,
No!
Okay, so Firebat can guaranteed kill Ragnaros with the Giant at very least. Depending on his draw, of course. Raven Idol would be pretty good. There is a Yasharaj, Rage Unbound, and that is going to, for those guys who don't know, just draw a minion and play it. And it's, Thanos, it's Thorison, sorry.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, just 15 power on the board when your opponent's got nothing is going to be feeling pretty reasonable for Firebat right about now.
I guess now you need him much. I mean, also going back to the big payoff turn of the Ragnaros, I mean, the thing is if you hit these 67%, you still get the big payoff, right? So he needs to kill your 8/8, you still have Thorison on board.
That's true.
That looks like a big payoff, another 10 to the damage, another 10 to the dome, bring him to 8. And there is a Ragnaros!
Okay.
Holy crap, I mean, the deck is really wanting him to win. And Ragnaros hits the board, and it goes Die Insect. The insect dies.
Okay. So Yasharaj has the ability now to just kill Ragnaros and draw another minion and play it, but Raven Idol with Fandral down is one of the best value plays you can make. This is kind of crazy. Ironbat Protector, just another big threat.
Yeah, you just take that one.
There we go. Oh, another Moonglade wouldn't be too terrible.
Yeah, and the Moonglade, right? You just heal yourself, in, but he cannot
get
play
another
so
Reckless Rocketeer.
Yeah, Reckless Rocketeer, that's right. But probably Force of Nature, right? Oh, no, you disagree.
I mean, he can Moonglade his Yasharaj, right?
No, it's true.
Heal Yasharaj back up, and then your opponent's on 1 card a turn. How is he actually going to kill it if you've healed it back up to 8?
Yeah, it's absolutely good too. Yeah.
It's your Drake. Why not? Just keep filling that board. Innovate, the worst card Terrence could have drawn.
No swipe. No.
Tank that 10. Yeah, and now Firebat's just going to drop Ironbar Protector and be like, keep going. We got this. This is probably the beginnings of Firebat potentially mounting a comeback in this series.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
never mind.
Yeah. Well, this 8/8 just, can't attack, but just decides to throw huge 8 damage fireballs out per turn, and this is actually going to put him 1 off lethal and put Terrence in a very, very awkward position, as I don't think there's a card in the deck that saves him from this moment.
No, absolutely not. Maybe Yogg-Saron, but I don't know whether he plays it.
Yeah.
But Yogg can do miracles. I mean,
Yogg can do miracles. Or nightmares, depending on which side of the board you're on.
That's right.
Yep, that is going to be game, and Firebat not going down 3-0, fighting back, and now he has to win another 2 games with his Druid. Do you think he can do it?
Yeah, I guess Firebat can do everything, but it's definitely now the win for the honor. So this is already accomplished, and now everything else is just bonus.
Yeah, you definitely just don't want to get 3-0. Right?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
First match of the day as well.
On stream?
On stream. First match of Swiss, 0-3. It's the worst start to a day full of Hearthstone
That's
you will
right.
ever get. But Firebat, as you said, got the honor win. And now a reverse of a matchup we saw earlier. It's going to be Terrence on the Tempo Mage this time, and Firebat obviously on his Druid. This is last hero standing, of course. And
Ooh, Arcane Intellect. He really considers that. I think it's pretty slow, so...
I think off the coin as well is
Yep.
even slower, you know, it's like even
slower.
scarier. Firebat has all the removal he could ever want in life with his opening hand. I doubt he's going to keep it all, though.
Oh, yeah, definitely not. I guess you always keep the roots, at least one of them, so...
You just want to kill the Sorcerer's Apprentice, right?
Exactly, exactly. And then you might choose
Is Firebat keeping
one
everything?
more. Oh, really? Oh, what?
Keep the whole... Okay, Firebat is not going to allow Terrence to play minions this game.
No, but he doesn't have. He has Arcane Intellect instead.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I
maybe-
think throwing one of the Wraths
Yeah,
at least
yeah.
would have been reasonable. But yeah, Firebat going for the full removal keep. At least he knows the Wraths can just cycle if he really needs it. There's just 2 cycle in his hand. But
No, sure, but it's expensive. So
It
you cycle
is,
for 2
it
mana,
is.
you deal 1 damage, and you really don't need that much removal. And especially not if Terrence already had this foresight and kept the Arcane Intellect instead of keeping
Yeah.
minions, right? So he will Arcane Intellect, Firebat will do nothing. He will do whatever.
yeah, so Terrence was presuming he's against Druid, right? They're not going to rush you down.
Yeah,
From
yeah.
in this deck. So he kept the Arcane Intellect because if you throw it and then get Firelands or Rag,
Yeah.
then you're like, oh, that Intellect would have been absolutely fantastic.
That's right.
But I think as the Druid, as long as you can deal with a Flame Waker,
Oh,
pretty
Acolyte.
happy.
Nice. Acolyte is pretty annoying for the Druid, especially
It's all right.
today.
Firebat's got the second Wrath. He saw this coming.
Yeah, but it's not very good to Wrath that one. I mean, you trade basically turn against turn, but Terrence just receives another bonus card for that. So Firebat is definitely not happy about what's going on. I wouldn't be surprised seeing Firebat Pharaoh raging that, but it's not. It's just turn against turn.
Yeah.
And plus 1 card.
The
for Terrence.
benefit is Firebat does have Coin Nourish next turn. If he wants to cycle into more or, you know, ramp up. But I think he kind of needs to cycle. He has the removal, but he has no threats of his own at the moment.
Yeah, but I guess he will just lose the late game. I mean, we already see the double Firelands Portal and the Ragnaros in
True.
the hand of the mage. Oh, he's actually... Oh, okay. So he decides, okay, sure.
I guess Terrence has seen a Wrath, seen a Pharaoh Rage, so he might be thinking, right, he's got to run out of removal at this point. Now I get a minion down and then build on it next turn. But we can see there's all the removal still in the world. Firebat, Yasharaj, a little bit early to the party.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
It's one of those 10 mana gods, of course, but Firebat now can choose to remove the Cult Sorcerer or go into that Nourish. And with the coin that hovered over, it looks like he's going to go into Nourish,
Coin
get
Nourish.
the value down now.
And Living Roots, I presume.
Yeah, he can go into it, yeah.
No, I was just a little bit surprised about Terrence's turn that he didn't play the Arcane Intellect, because we can also see that Terrence doesn't have any kind of follow-up in his hand right now, which means if he would have played the Arcane Intellect, he could have drawn some 5-drop, some 3-drop in combination, and so on, right? And how it looks now, it becomes a little bit more difficult to do that.
And also as well, the spell damage minions are very important to play at the right time to get those big arcane blasts off and like the big swing turns as well. So and the 2 mana one, the Cult Sorcerer versus like an Azure Drake, very different because you can get a lot more done with the Cult Sorcerer because it's so cheap.
Yes, that's right. And also here we see that he would have drawn the dragon, he could have deployed the dragon, threatening something, so...
Yeah, and Firebat nourishing into mana, of course. Now his hand is starting to look very scary, as Mage does not really have a great way to deal with the Yasharaj.
That's right, but...
Plus the minion is going to draw, and a lot of the minions in this Druid deck are very big. So
it's right, but again, there are like still 2 Firelands Portals and Ragnaros in their hand, and I'm not even sure what's more value. I mean, whether like the Giant for 6-5, okay, it will come down for 5, plus the Ferocious. I mean, it's a very big turn, but Firelands Portals are really strong as well.
Yeah.
So it's not over yet.
Oh, no, by any means. It's very similar to the mirrored matchup we saw earlier, where Firebat had the late game covered sort of thing, didn't have too much early. Terrence had a little bit better run of it this time, but as you said, he has got all the late game in the world here.
I mean, I guess...
But so is Firebat, that's the problem, so is Firebat.
That's right. I mean, I would assume that a lot will come down again to the Ragnaros hit, but let's see about that one. Is it Dragon Frostbolt here? What do you think?
I mean, it sets up for a really easy Firelands next turn, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think just playing Firelands means the Giant can just kill whatever you played, so it's just 1-for-1 when you normally want more value.
That's right.
That spell, so this is really nice. At worst, if the Drake doesn't die, you can trade it into the Giant, so that Giant's almost certainly dead next turn regardless, and Firebat just has to continue on with the pressure. 1 mana, being able to get Yasharaj out, but he does get into a
that is pretty
Giant.
insane. No, he can play like the swipe, innovate the Giant. It's insane. It's just super insane. Then probably we will see Ragnaros coming down, and then Yasharai will hit the board. And as we know, Tempo Mage, only has Flame Strike as AoE option, and this doesn't AoE big minions. So I guess that was pretty insane.
Yeah, this is very, very awkward now. Oh, we're gonna go for
doing Violence Portal, I guess. But he can.
I don't know if you want the Apprentice down, because yeah, you can play Apprentice and Firelands, but what's Apprentice going to do this, like this turn? I think it might be better now that there's a Flame Waker in hand to maybe save it for a bigger combo turn later, but Terrence disagrees. He just wants an additional minion down.
6-3 not being bad. I mean, 6-3 basically plays like a 6-6 if Firebat decides to go for the Yasharai route. So pretty good roll here. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, Ragnaros, if he would have hit, the board would have been empty. In this case, it's roughly the same. So let's see where this goes.
Firebat even had the option of actually just using the Wild Growth to cycle, swipe, trade, clear the board, and leave the Giant on the board. But
Firebat leaves the Sources. Oh, that's very risky actually. Oh. I'm very surprised that he didn't attack the 3-2. I mean, now Terrence can do stuff, right? I mean,
yeah, well, he can play Flame Waker, Firelands, and Arcane Blast.
Okay, this will.
He has the mana available. I'm not saying that's the exact turn you go for. He can do
1 spell power would be 10 damage on this as well. So he can also go 1 spell power and Violence Portal and Arcane Blast on Yasharai. Trading the 3-2 into the 8-2, having a 5-5 against the Sorisen. The Flamewaker is a little bit bigger of a game, like much more, right?
Yeah, I think at this point you need to do the safe play, right, and just make sure things die. And then Terrence will be really hoping for something pretty impactful off this Firelands.
And it is Frostwolf.
Okay, just a 4-4, nothing too crazy.
Okay. And he decided to play this 3-2 over the 1-1 which draws a card because he already has the follow-up play with the Ragnaros, so he's relying on that one. Here it's also interesting for Firebat because he probably wants to play the Ragnaros, and naturally he would also play one of the Wild Growths, but I think if Ragnaros is already written in stone, you can also, instead of playing the Wild Growths, Shapeshift? No, I would probably cycle it anyways. Yeah. It makes sense, it makes sense.
Yeah, there's the option as well. He could actually just play Rag and then Living Roots into 3-2 trade and then just have a free Rag hit to face. Yeah. The Emperor's still living, but it's just going to cycle. The 3-2 not too crazy at the moment. Ragnaros is probably going to kill a minion this turn.
Okay. So this Rig Head very important because if he doesn't hit, well, Terrence will have a very hard... Okay, does it? So now Terrence has a hard time to... Oh, yeah, never mind.
Oh, just 50-50 on the opponent's Rag. These hits are just game deciding a lot of the time.
Game deciding so much. Oh, it
gets it. Okay.
But there is Sylvanas already in Firebat's hand, so yeah, Sylvanas is obviously also the very best answer against the Ragnaros.
Yeah.
I mean, Ragnaros is the best answer, but Sylvanas is the second best.
Yeah, if yours gets sniped, Sylvanas steal your opponents. It's fine.
So
you're gonna go for the Azure Drake. He can actually still just innovate out Sylvanas if he really wants. Play the Living Roots to go even wider on the board, but you're probably just not upset if Sylvanas gets hit anyway. Be able to just steal the full health Rag.
He basically
he's just gonna kill it. Okay.
So he basically says, I have the late game anyways, so as long as I don't die the next few turns, I will win in the late game no matter what. But I'm not sure whether it's correct.
Well, so Sylvanas always also kind of locks out the second Violence portal as well.
Right.
It's like very awkward to deal with.
I'm just curious about about the longevity of the mage, like whether he can keep up with the value the druid always puts on the board, with having both Arcane Intellects drawn, but maybe not. I mean, we will see about that.
Yeah, I don't think we've not seen torches so far from Terrence.
One. He just played one. He just played one.
As I looked away for 1 second, the torch got played. Okay, so he does have the Roaring Torch in his deck now for a little bit more reach.
Right.
But now with the Sylvanas and an Azure Drake down, and there's still Barnes available for Firebat, as you said, like Terrence might just not have what's left in the deck to actually deal with him.
Okay. Firebat playing it very safe, using even the Innovate to shapeshift.
Yeah, he's actually quickly running out of value for the Innovate anyway.
Yeah.
So little
a
cards.
second
Double
Fireball becomes drawn. So, I mean, maybe it looks for Terrence that he can
Lethal.
enter the gamble.
Lethal, do it.
Yeah, that he can enter the gamble, right? I mean, we are talking about 14, 16, 18, 20 potential damage here.
It's okay. It's okay. One of the Flame Waker hits can miss. It's fine. It's only on 19 he'll get it. I think the question Terrence needs to ask himself here is, if he doesn't go for it, what is his future?
Yes.
Like, what is he actually? How does he plan on winning the game? So
that's right.
To be completely honest, like, I wouldn't mind him going for it here.
And he is.
He's doing it.
He is.
Why not?
Oh my god. Oh my god. Is he doing? Oh.
So
okay.
one's hit.
11%. 11%. And
still, he has Roaring Torch in his deck. He has a lot of draws that can actually win in this game. He can just. I think he even got Frostbolt, right? I think he's got one left.
I think he has one left. Yeah, that's right.
Raven Idols, though, means that Firebat could easily
Heal
get some healing spells.
Tuck. No.
Well, that isn't a healing spell. You don't really want to mulch as well at this point.
No, you don't.
Like, you don't want to give the mage potentially a very high impact card.
Yeah, you just pick the Force of Nature and you pray for the second Raven Idol.
Pick Force of Nature, don't plan to play it. Quickly get into the next Raven Idol and see what happens.
Maybe he will play it. I mean, Raven Idol, maybe he does. Let's see what this gets.
Firebat having a quick prayer just to make sure he gets a heal.
Oh yeah, and 2.
So you just take Claw, right?
Yeah, of course
you
have to. But it's not. I guess Firebat expected a little bit more from the two idols. He's very disappointed. He looks very disappointed about
it. It does put him out of range of Frostbolt ping, which helps.
Yeah,
that's the only thing it does, but it's better than still being in range of Frostbolt. It's one more card that can end the game for you, of course.
But there will be 2 draws. There will be 2
draws.
the
Thanos. Oh my god.
It's insane. It's so insane because Terrence has 9 cards in the deck, so it's 2 in a 9 to draw this spell, which will just kill Firebat immediately. Oh, the spell match. Oh, okay. So Firebat also gave Frostbolt as a potential out. Okay, mirror image, of course, a blank. Yeah, you probably try.
Oh, there we go. Never mind. Only needed that draw. I was wondering whether you just attack Fate's ping.
Yeah.
Get the additional draw for the Frostbolt to then give you the other out, but
that's right.
Didn't need it in the end. Roaring Torch was enough, and Terrence takes the win over Firebat. Pretty good start to this Swiss event for him. Having an opponent as Firebat for your first opponent is definitely a scary thing, but getting the victory means that also his tiebreakers going forward are probably going to be pretty good.
Oh yeah, definitely. He also played very well, especially this last game. I mean, he saw that the only option he got left is going full face, and despite the Sylvanas on the board, he just fearlessly went for it and got rewarded, and with a good foresight. I mean, he knew if he would do this, he would probably have like 30-40% to draw the burn in time, and he did.
And that's what you've got to do in a lot of games, actually. Just identify exactly what your chance out winning and go for it. Did you enjoy that series, Frodan?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of hoping that Firebat would make it a little closer back and forth. I think he was surprised by the Zoo Warlock losing to the Druid. I think that was the big nail that really decided the series. But, I mean, this is a good showcase of what Druid is capable of. Yeah. I think one thing that surprised me also is how impactful Yasharaj is. We were mentioning in the pre-show of how I thought Yasharaj Druid could make an impact. And it ends up being pretty devastating when it lands at the board. Like, yeah, Ragnar's Wars are pretty impactful, but when Yasharaj drops down, it's pretty crazy. Now, we're going to be joined by Terrence just for a brief interview on his series. So, Terrence, welcome to the tavern. How you feeling, man? How you feeling about traveling?
Pretty good. 9 hours, well, like 12 hours total of travel, but it wasn't too bad. Slept most of the flight, so it doesn't feel too bad. I feel a lot better than I have all the other times. I got a lot more like rest and kind of adjusted my sleep schedule before traveling.
It's good. It's good. How did you feel going up against Firebat? Any thoughts on the series?
The series, I feel like I had pretty good Druid starts, so I felt like I never felt like I was behind in the series at all. I felt with the Druid wins against the Tempo Mage, and then the Zoo I was definitely like very ahead, and then just had to figure out how to deal with the Druid, and that could go either way, as you could see by like how I drew with the Druid.
Gotcha. Yeah, you've historically you've performed pretty well in Dreamhack Winter. How much preparation did you do for this event specifically?
For this one specifically, the deck that you guys didn't see yet, I kind of remembered last minute. So I didn't want, I think a lot of people forgot about the deck, and I didn't want other people to kind of figure it out. So I didn't play it on ladder much, and I had like a very just small playtest group, just kind of try and get out, see how it works.
So it's the secret. You're waiting to unleash it later rounds, right?
Yeah.
That's good.
In before it gets banned out all tournament, and then we'll be like, please tell us the deck.
Then he gets to play Shaman, I guess.
Yeah.
So a win-win. That's cool, man. He's got some tricks up his sleeve. I mean, a lot of players just list that this is kind of their favorite format, competing-wise. Is it still the same for you? Because I mean, this is how you broke out in the first place at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, Swiss will always be my favorite, just like from playing card games for like 15 years. Like when I transitioned from like other card games to Hearthstone, I was surprised that there wasn't that much Swiss, so I definitely love Dreamhack's format.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Well, you're off to a good 1-0 start. Do you have any questions, life coach Raven, for Terrence before we let him get ready for the second match?
Raven idle into the buff. How did you feel?
I had to like keep checking because I knew my outs for lethal were so low because I used both swipes. I used a Living Roots, and I think Feral Rage and Raven Idol was my only outs. So like getting. Like, at first, I didn't realize it.
Yeah,
like,
we were worried. We saw you, like, hide the cards. Look at the board. I was like, no, unhide them. You need to see this card. Like, it does it. But you did get it, and that's all that matters. You got the win, so congratulations on that one.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Well, congrats, and good luck in the future rounds. For now, we have a second match prepared as well. It's